Have you ever stopped to ponder the roots of political movements? Where did they all start? Well, let's journey back in time to the cradle of civilization, where the first political movements took root. Picture ancient Greece, where democracy was born. Here, the concept of citizens having a say in their governance was unheard of, until a group of free-thinking individuals decided to challenge the status quo. Among them, the philosopher Socrates stands out. His teachings laid the groundwork for critical thinking and debate, essential elements in any political movement. He urged his fellow citizens to question everything, even the established norms of society. This sparked the first political movement, a call to arms for the populace to participate in their own governance, a radical notion for its time. Fast forward a few centuries to the grandeur of Rome. Here, political movements took a different turn. Julius Caesar, a name that resonates with power and ambition, embarked on a quest to transform Rome from a republic into an empire. His charismatic leadership and bold reforms rallied the masses, inciting a political movement that reshaped Rome and left an indelible mark on history. Yet it wasn't just about the leaders. The common people played a crucial role in these movements too. They were the ones who rallied behind these leaders, making their voices heard, and in the process, shaping the course of history. But these movements were not without their challenges. They faced opposition, suppression, and sometimes even persecution. Yet they persevered, driven by the belief that they could change the world. And indeed they did. Their actions laid the foundation for the political movements that would follow, inspiring future generations to stand up for their beliefs, to challenge the status quo, and to strive for change. Thus the seed of political movements was sown, ready to grow and shape the world in the centuries to follow. And as we'll see, this seed would sprout, grow, and bloom in ways that these ancient civilizations could never have imagined. As we leap forward to the Middle Ages and Renaissance, political movements took a different turn. The Middle Ages, also known as the medieval period, was a time of kings, queens, and knights in shining armor. But beneath this fairy tale facade, a significant transition was underway. This era marked a shift from absolute monarchies, where kings and queens held all the power, to the concept of democracy, where power was shared between the monarch and the people. This shift was not easy, and it wasn't quick. It took centuries of struggle, rebellion, and negotiation. One of the key events that symbolize this shift is the signing of the Magna Carta in the year 1215. This document, forced upon King John of England by his rebellious barons, was a clear signal that the absolute power of the monarchy was no longer accepted. The Magna Carta established the principle that everyone, including the king, was subject to the law. As we move forward into the Renaissance, we see an explosion of new ideas and philosophies. The Renaissance was a period of rebirth, a time when people started to question the established order. The spirit of inquiry, the thirst for knowledge, the desire for freedom, these were the hallmarks of the Renaissance. One figure who embodies this spirit is Martin Luther, a German monk who challenged the authority of the Catholic Church. His 95 Theses, nailed to the door of the Wittenberg Castle Church in 1517, sparked the Protestant Reformation. This was not just a religious movement, it was a political one, challenging the power of the Church and paving the way for the rise of nation-states. The Renaissance gave birth to modern political thought, setting the stage for the revolutions to come. As we'll see in the next scene, these revolutions would dramatically reshape the political landscape of the world. Fast forward to the 18th and 19th centuries, the world witnessed a surge of revolutions, each leaving an indelible mark on the political landscape. First, we set our sights on the American Revolution, where 13 North American colonies shook off the shackles of British rule. This revolution gave rise to the concept of a democratic republic, a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. A key figure in this struggle was George Washington, the first president of the United States, whose leadership and vision helped shape the nation's political future. Next, we cross the Atlantic to the French Revolution, a tumultuous period that radically transformed France's political and social structure. This revolution popularized the ideas of liberty, equality, and fraternity, principles that would guide future political movements across the globe. At the helm of this revolution was Napoleon Bonaparte, a military genius who seized power and established himself as emperor, leaving an indelible mark on French and indeed global politics. Our journey through the era of revolutions wouldn't be complete without discussing the Industrial Revolution. This period of rapid industrialization and urbanization brought about significant social changes and gave birth to a new political movement, Socialism. Karl Marx, a philosopher and social scientist, became the face of this movement. His ideas on class struggle and his criticism of capitalism would go on to inspire political movements and revolutions in the following centuries. Now let's take a moment to reflect. These revolutions, diverse as they were, had one thing in common. They were all catalysts for change. They disrupted the status quo, challenged established norms, and reshaped political ideologies. They gave us new ways of thinking about governance, justice, and equality. They inspired people to dream of a better world and gave them the courage to fight for it. These revolutions not only changed the political landscape, but also shaped the future of the world. Now, let's delve into the turbulent 20th century, a time of unprecedented political upheaval. The 20th century witnessed a surge of political movements, each striving for a more equitable world. Feminism, civil rights, and independence movements emerged, challenging the status quo and advocating for equality and freedom. First, let's consider the rise of feminism. This movement, which began in the late 19th century, gained significant momentum in the 20th. Feminists fought for women's rights on the grounds of political, social, and economic equality to men. This period, known as the second wave of feminism, saw an expansion of the debate into a wider range of issues, including sexuality, family, and reproductive rights. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, the civil rights movement was unfolding. African Americans rallied against racial discrimination and segregation, demanding equal rights under the law. The charismatic and eloquent Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. emerged as a leading figure, inspiring millions with his dream of a society where people are not judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Simultaneously, across the globe, independence movements were shaking the foundations of colonial empires. In India, Mahatma Gandhi led a nonviolent struggle for freedom from British rule, inspiring similar movements worldwide. His philosophy of nonviolent resistance, known as satyagraha, became a powerful tool for oppressed communities to fight for their rights. And in the southernmost tip of Africa, Nelson Mandela fought against apartheid, a brutal system of racial segregation in South Africa. Despite spending 27 years in prison, Mandela's resolve never wavered. His journey from prisoner to president remains one of the most inspirational stories of the 20th century. These movements reshaped societies, proving that the power of people can indeed bring about monumental change. The 20th century was a testament to the strength of collective action, a reminder that when people unite in a common cause, they can transform the world. Remember, these movements reshaped societies, proving that the power of people can indeed bring about monumental change. Finally, we arrive at the digital age, where political movements have taken a new form. This era, marked by the advent of the internet, is a testament to the transformative power of technology in reshaping the political landscape. In the age of parchment and quill, political movements were limited by geographical boundaries. But with the advent of the internet, these boundaries have been demolished. The digital revolution has enabled global connectivity and instant communication, making it possible for political movements to spark and spread at an unprecedented pace. Consider the Arab Spring, a series of pro-democracy uprisings that swept across the Middle East and North Africa at the start of the 21st century. The role of social media cannot be overstated in these movements. Platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube were used to organize protests, disseminate information, and galvanize international support. The Arab Spring was a definitive moment that underscored the power of digital tools in driving political change. Then, there's the Black Lives Matter movement, which began in the United States but quickly spread worldwide. A hashtag turned into a rallying cry, and this digital-born movement has since grown into a global campaign against racism and police brutality. The internet has served as a platform to amplify voices that had previously been marginalized or ignored. The digital revolution has also given rise to cyber-activism, where activists use digital tools to challenge the status quo and affect social change. From online petitions to hashtag campaigns, we're witnessing a new form of political engagement that transcends traditional boundaries. However, it's important to remember that the digital space is a double-edged sword. While it has democratized information and given a voice to the voiceless, it has also been used to spread misinformation and propaganda. The challenge, therefore, is to navigate this digital landscape with discernment and responsibility. The digital revolution has indeed redefined political movements, making the world a global village where everyone can voice their opinions. In this age of instant communication and global connectivity, the power to create change is literally at our fingertips. In the span of a few minutes, we have journeyed through thousands of years of political movements. We witnessed the dawn of political movements in ancient civilizations, where the seeds of democracy took root. We ventured into the Middle Ages and Renaissance, a period of profound change and upheaval, where political movements were shaped by religion and the burgeoning concept of the nation-state. We then navigated through the era of revolutions, a time marked by a fervor for liberty, equality, and fraternity. As we fast-forwarded to the 20th century, ideological battles between capitalism and communism defined the political movements of the time. Finally, we arrived in the digital age, where technology has transformed political movements, enabling unprecedented connectivity and mobilization. So here we are, still on this journey, witnessing the constant evolution of political movements. While the form and nature of political movements continue to evolve, their essence remains the same: the pursuit of a better world.